Um, so this YouTube channel, I see on YouTube how the thing works. You make playlists and they show up when people go to your home page on your YouTube channel. And those playlists are just videos that are out on YouTube that you can press add to a playlist and it goes into that playlist. So I've made a playlist for poetry. This poetry I've written and spoken onto YouTube videos. There's a playlist about climate camp, and there's a playlist about fracking, and there's a playlist, well, just have a look there now. Go to Lore of the Land, have a look at the playlists. And then there's uploaded videos. If you look at the uploaded videos, it's the 1 to 9 or whatever there is so far of this Digging in the Truth Movement series. Yeah, because in my meandering, chatting, storytelling way, there's a lot of things I'm mentioning to that might be very far out ideas to some people who haven't heard them before. And yet to people who have been doing their research, is a casual mention to say these things exist and are part of a much bigger picture is enough. But there's a fair few hours worth just in what I've uploaded this week for anyone to have going on in their home media. But there's hundreds of hours of videos out there on YouTube already by other people whose research is up there in the way that YouTube makes possible. About Agenda 21, about climate change, about undercover governments, about undercover cops, about the free man movement, about the law movement that's not free man, about the interpretation of law, about how old law is, about history, about what was going on here before the Normans took over, about what was going on here at the time when the Romans did their first invasion. How many of you realize from your education system that Rome's first ever invasion against Britain happened within a very small few years, less than 10 years, after the so-called crucifixion story of Christ? There's a lot of people saying about the fracking issue that it's got to be just fracking and you've got to not talk about chemtrails or any other thing that might sound like you're a whacked out lunatic conspiracy nut. And there you go again. There's the social fear policing people, saying you can't talk about such and such, you've got to keep it simple because people are stupid and cheap. Well, I don't think anyone is stupid and sheepish. The pursuit of truth and the pursuit of knowledge and the pursuit of wisdom are all similar sounding things, but a little bit different. But whatever's going on the planet at this stage that's allowed fracking to become a reality has been going on a very, very, very long time. And we're not born of a knowledge that there's a conspiracy going on. We're rather programmed to trust what's going on and to do as we're told. To do what we're told by the authorities, the priests, the teachers, the government, the police, the judges. Now it turns out that there is a conspiracy going on between the institutions of state and why that's going on is a deep question. But for sure the laws are not right and honest. And for sure we the people are being fooled. And for sure, the system is letting the people down. And the system is revealing its hand that it doesn't care about the people, despite its rhetoric. So a solution for all of this isn't just stopping a gate. The solution for all of this is we the people communicating among ourselves, being brave enough to overcome the self-policing that you might be called mad. If we needed a revolution, we would need a revolution that would take back the land and restore natural law, the law of the land, agreed among the people. And that natural law has been usurped by a conspiracy, and that conspiracy is plain to see as Admiralty Law, or the Universal Commercial Code, also known as the Universal Catholic Code. It's merchant's law, the law of the sea. Thus it's one law overarching the globe at this stage. And that mechanism of control has now pretty much taken control of the whole planet. 9/11 was part of that, and the spate of revolutions that have been going on in the East are part of that. So slightly altering the money system, like what Occupy seem to be saying, isn't going to solve what's going on. And blaming the 1% by gathering out in the streets isn't going to stop what's going on. It's going to seem like it might be able to stop it, but look at Occupy, it didn't stop anything. So one of the main motivations for me to make these videos and to post them out is because what I see going on is a civil war. It's people fighting against people. And it's not changing the system at all. It's just dividing people further and further. We no longer have free festivals. We have licensed festivals. And apparently it's because of the law and because of money and because of insurance and because of security that we're not allowed to have gatherings anymore. What I suggest as a solution to all of this stuff is to start having gatherings and have an awful lot of gatherings. An awful lot of little gatherings where you invite people that you know to come and gather with you and be able to sit round a fire and talk about what's really going on. And be brave enough to say to your peer group of people that live around you what you really think is going on in your heart. And by discussing it with other people, to be able to relieve yourself of some of the disempowering paranoia that's going on in the mind from having watched too many YouTube videos. And from all the psychic attack that's coming through newspaper headlines anytime you walk through a shop or get on a public transport. If the people allow ourselves to be turned into a mob and to be profiled by the media as extremists, then yeah, martial law is an historical phrase to describe a situation of anarchy. The Queen bows down to the Pope. The Queen represents a monarchy, and that monarchy bows down to a stratocracy, and a stratocracy is military rule. There are three strata in society: the military, the civilian, and the ecclesiastic. civilians live under civil law, which is maritime law. It's governed by a military law. And the ecclesiastics live in a separate society to us. They don't answer to civil law. So we're all bowing down to the Pope no matter what we think we are, because the system is set up in that way, in which the way of ruling under Roman rule is still the way of ruling. The City of London and the City of the Vatican and the City of Washington, D.C. live by a separate set of laws to the rest of the world. They live by their own set of laws to do with military conquest. And the rest of the world lives under their laws, an external law that's the law of the sea. But I'll make a playlist that shows a lot of the videos that I watched that help me figure out what I already know. Anyway, in a way, comments and working together and being able to communicate with each other openly and fearlessly, because there's nothing wrong with helping to educate ourselves. So why should we be paranoid about it? Well, I haven't much fear of speaking out, because that fairy tale that I wrote myself, it kind of comes from some higher realm, yeah? I didn't figure it out in the way it is. It's smarter than I am, is what I mean. I don't mean I've got some divine fucking telephone going on inside me. I merely mean that the thing I wrote, being artistic, is smarter than what my ego was at the time I wrote it. And I've learned a lot through following its wisdom. And I've been learning to become as wise as the words that can spill out of my mouth. And that fairy tale gives me confidence that the vision I have inside of myself is a collective vision. That the resonance in the way I speak just is what it is. In that fairy tale, it's a 2-hour-long spoken word story, all in rhyme and riddle. And it simply says, in enchantment rather than in spells, that the spells only control you if you give your power to them, if you believe in them. But the ability to sing from the heart and be enchanted is within all of us. To be light-hearted. That function of capabilities inside in all of us to be light-hearted. And to find that source in ourselves is to become fearless. And to be fearless in a way not where you're running against a perceived enemy and trying to kill it, but where you're willing to speak to your friends and be honest. That kind of fearless is how we the people can reclaim the land that we the people already have. I'm here in a garden and someone else owns it according to the outside world, and yet I'm the one that's digging it. So the law of money isn't stopping me from doing what I'd like to do, because what I'd like to do is dig this garden. And all the statutes and laws that the Parliament has been bringing in since 9/11 hasn't stopped me from living free in my heart and in my actions. So the wisdom that I tune into says, let people gather among themselves in a completely anarchistic kind of way, guided by soul, guided by intuition, if that's an easier word for people. And our intuitions gather us together in a great big plan, and let us reclaim the land where we live. this little bit here. Look, everyone's got a back garden that everyone's minding anyway. We already cover all the land, we already hold all the land. The only problem is that the mind control through the media and the law system has us believing that we don't control our own land, that we're not free in our own land. So there's the thing to solve anyway. I have to go and mind the kids. Cheers. Bye.